Yo, what's going on, y'all? Good morning. Um, I like to do a blog or whatever. Basically my topic today, as every day, is myth busting. Yes, I am definitely in the business of myth busting because I see that a lot. There's a lot of misinformation floating around, especially on the internet, social media, or what have you. And where the problem comes in with that is people tend to repost these myths as if they are factually true. And a lot of them would even go as far as debating with you and arguing with you as if these myths are facts. So there's a lot of myths floating, that's been floating around for years now. I myself used to believe some of these myths and conspiracy theories. I was very big on conspiracy theories at one point in time in my life. Whereas I used to not only believe them, but I used to also push them. I used to peddle these conspiracy theories. And that's just another form of mental slavery or mental bondage, being slave to a mental death and power. So believe me, I anybody that knows me and been around me throughout the years, my early adulthood years, I was probably one of the biggest conspiracy theorists that even I know of. I was also a subscriber to a zealous subscriber to Afrocentrism. So I was a big Afrocentrist. Um, so that's what I want to go into today. So what I want to touch on right now is the theory of race, because I find myself in conversations every day with people, um, and I find myself basically speaking to a choir, talking on deaf ears, because you know I used to believe in the race theory myself and the one drop rule. I used to believe in all of that. So let's get to the bottom of this whole thing. The definition of race, um, by social standards, is a group of people characterized by common, culture, common, especially phenotypes or physical features. Um, this is where pseudoscience comes in at. So some people will argue that races are classified based on skull size and skull structure. Where there are varying differences of skull structures or sizes, um, which can be distinguished by continents or geographical landmass, like Asia, then you have Africa, but this does not indicate some race or something, because let's go to Africa, for instance. There is no monolithic people of Africa. So what I mean by that is, let's what's there 44 countries in Africa. So all of these people are actually genetically different. Okay, someone in Nigeria and you have someone in Cameroon. They are totally different people. They are not genetically the same. They are not genetically alike. They're not ethnically alike. Because actually, if you have one country in Africa, may have fucking 20, 30, 40, 50 different ethnic groups. They're not the same at all. So, again, there is no monolithic people of a continent. Okay? So, it's safe to say that they're all different. Okay? Skin complexion only shows that you originate from somewhere that is close to the equator. Has nothing to do with ethnicity or none of that. None of that. Also, there is a difference between nationality and ethnicity. Nationality only denotes where you were born or either your political citizenship status. That is all nationality means. So, for instance, a perfect example of nationality would be American. Okay. Anybody can be American, no matter your ethnicity. American is just a nationality. That just denotes, okay, having American citizenship or being born in the United States. That's it. It goes no farther than that. Has nothing to do with your cultural background or your ethnic origins. None of that plays a part in American nationality. Same as China. Okay, Chinese is a nationality. Now you have different ethnic groups of China that existed, I guess, before the name China came into existence. So let's say you have the Ming peoples, the Xiong peoples. You just have shit like that. So that's how that works. So even when you hear like people say Asians, that's just a general classification to say somebody that's from that continent or the Oriental East Asia, the eastern part of Asia. So let's say you have Chinese, Japanese, Koreans. They're all different, and there are ways to that. I know the difference. If you put a Chinese, a Japanese, or Korean next to each other, I can point out which one is Japanese without a shadow of a doubt. But you cannot do that with Europeans. You can't do that with some Africans. You can't do that with Hispanic. Because you just never know. Sometimes you can put a Hispanic and an African American person side by side and you can't tell the difference by looking at them. So again, you cannot go off of phenotypes. That is a social construct. Race is a social construct. The idea of race, the race theory model, was created in the 1500s by the Spaniards. They did it in order to justify the slave trade and, the inferiority, their perceived inferiority of African people. So, because slavery has been around since the beginning of time, it's been practiced in every civilization, so it is not a European thing. It didn't start with European, it didn't start with Africans. So let's get that clear. So back to the topic on point is that you have to refer to genetics, biology, those two sciences in order to really, that's the only way you can determine what someone's, let's say, origin or ethnicity is through DNA sequence, mitochondrial DNA, or what's known as mtDNA. That's how that works. So I invite people to study more of genetics if you're going to want to engage in conversation, dialogue, or anything relating to, race, culture. I invite people to actually study these things. What's put out there is what is called pseudoscience, meaning it's not science. It is a mirror of science, but it is not science because it doesn't vindicate the scientific process of something going from being a theory to a fact. You see what I mean? So if it's just a theory, then it is not gone through the scientific process. That's all we can go off of logically and intellectually. Anything else is just emotional, so forth and so forth. So again, I invite people to study genetics, study biology, DNA sequences, gene pools, gene mutations, all those things. So I leave you with that. Peace.